hear these teams play 14 days ago.
We're ready to rock. Ball in the air, Baba Miller and the Noles in their all golds win the tip.
And Chandler Jackson starts for the Seminoles in place of Green.
Warley and the Seminoles falling to Duke on Saturday. Nice feed inside immediately to Corhen, and a Seminole strike first.
And Corhen's been shooting almost 80% over his last 7 games, so no change there. That was a great job getting position inside.
Claudell Harris, Jaeden Zackery, Mason Madsen, Quinten Post, and Devin McLaughlin. Madsen, quick fire 3, bang, oh baby. Mason Madsen doing exactly what he's been doing over the last couple of contests, ripping the nets from beyond the arc.
I mentioned Jackson starting in place of Green.
See Jackson, Warley, Watkins, Corhen, and Miller. Warley, strong drive and the finish. The Noles immediately trying to get to the bucket inside.
Well, they're attacking Quinten Post, and that's a pretty good idea. The easiest way to defend a really good player is to get him on the bench with foul trouble. But nice job that time to cut off the pass into the post.
Talked about Florida State against Duke. How about Jared McCain against the Noles on Saturday? 35 points, 8 threes. Those 35 points, the most for a Duke freshman since Zion Williams. How about that? Great defense from Florida State. Zackery, better offense.
Wow, that was really good defense. In Boston College, you cannot pick up your dribble unless you've got someplace to pass the ball. The Eagles dodged the bullet that time.
Zackery, the junior from Salem, Wisconsin. He's closing in on 1,000 career points. Could happen here tonight in Tallahassee. Mid-range Jackson knocks it down, using that big size and big frame to create the space.
We've been talking about defense, but the offense seems to be working pretty well for both teams here early.
I remember 2 weeks ago, Florida State shot out of a cannon, leading 16-2 in Chestnut Hill. They're going to call goaltending on the drive from McLaughlin.
And that's what you have to do against the Seminoles. They're going to come and pressure you. You've got to be able to attack off the dribble. And this is what McLaughlin does. And the ball hit the backboard above the rim, and so you can't touch it after that. I don't know that that was going to go in, but by rule, that is a goaltend.
Dan, what do you want to see from these clubs early on?
Well, what you want to see is you want to see them get some stops on the defensive end, but right now both teams are just doing whatever they want on offense, driving the ball to the basket. For Boston College, you have to protect the ball. You can't turn it over and let Florida State get out and go. And the Seminoles have to attack again because they don't have their best three-point shooter. They need to get to the free throw line.
And it's a Noles team that leads the ACC in tempo on the year, nearly 72 possessions a game. They have upticked it a little bit even in conference play as Watkins knocks down the first free throw. He has been a key. No Darren Green Jr., as we mentioned. That changes the complexion of how the Noles are going to have to attack a team that is last in the ACC in three-point makes and percentage. Two for two at the line. Watkins and the Noles take a 1-point lead.
Well, nobody's missed yet. Haven't missed a field goal, haven't missed a free throw.
Kick to the corner, another three.
And that was a great job by Boston College. They were trying to take advantage of the mismatch inside, getting the ball to Post. Chandler Jackson saw that, dropped inside to help out against Post, and that left Madsen wide open.
He transferred from Cincy a couple of seasons ago, battled injury last year. A career-high 7 threes against Miami on Saturday. As again, Jackson knocks it down. Boy, both of these teams are in fuego. What is going on?
Well, nobody's missed yet. Maybe there's something to this familiarity thing.
That's deflected, will stay with BC. Talking to Earl Grant about playing Florida State twice in 2 weeks, he mentioned it. He said, look, yes, there's an edge for our basketball team. There's intent and there's purpose to this shoot-around and to practice this week. We were looking forward to playing the Noles, and we know what they want to do. They want to take us out of our offense. We've got to be able to go 1v1, and he called it just hooping.
By playing them so recently, you understand how they can use their length and quickness against you.
And still, nobody's missed as McLaughlin knocks down the corner three.
I don't know that I've ever seen this. We're almost to the first media break, and nobody's missed a shot.
Near turnover, something in the water in Tallahassee. Miller's three, back iron, first miss of the game. O-board, Watkins tries to bank it in, no. A third chance, he sticks it in. Watkins would not be denied.
Of course, Watkins leads the team in scoring and rebounding, assists and steals. That's a very poor job by Boston College blocking out that time. Gave him a couple of opportunities.
Deep jumper, rattled in and out off of the backboard, knocked out of bounds. Posts battling in there. It'll stay with the Eagles. That'll take us to our first immediate timeout. The Nets are on fire at the tuck early in this one. How about Mason Madsen from the corner, and then McLaughlin joining in on the party.
Amazing thing about that is they're playing so well on the road.
Continue to find ways as play resumes.
But you got to keep the ball movement against Florida State. When you stand there and hold it, that just allows them to tighten up their defense.
Zackery, another three. Boston College can't miss from the outside.
Okay, so we've had each team miss a couple of shots, but they've gotten the rebound, so there hasn't been a possession where the teams haven't scored.
4 threes for the Eagles. They hit 15 against Miami on Saturday, the 4th most ever in Boston College program history. Watkins trying to respond and does, right back. And here we go in Tallahassee. Neither team can be slowed down.
Well, Watkins in conference play actually shoots 34% from beyond the arc. And we're talking about the fact you got to keep the ball movement, and that time Zackery had a lot of room, and Watkins has a lot of room too, and each team is trying to drive the ball into the middle. The defenses may be overcommitting just a tad.
Watkins double figures in 11 straight contests for Florida State. And again, inside, that was Zackery. Goaltending called for the 2nd time on the Noles.
Really good ball movement that time by Boston College. You get the ball down the court. You don't want to let Florida State's defense get set. And then again, the ball hits the backboard above the rim. That's a goaltender.
Zackery has scored at least 10 points in 5 straight. 11 against the Canes on Saturday. Foul called down low. Miller was jostling with Claudell Harris. Son Harris, the junior from Hampville, Louisiana.
Boston College doing some switching. And so that really creates, Miller at 6'11", matched up against Harris inside. That's really tough. They don't want Harris to pick up another foul quickly, so Kelly's going to come in it again.
Corhen shot blocked by Post.
Okay, that's the first possession where somebody hadn't scored. Make it 2 in a row. We're starting a streak, a different one.
How about the job Earl Grant has done at Boston College? As coach in the mid-major level, he talked about the sense of urgency picking up this time of year is nothing new to him.
He's trying to build his team so they're playing their best in March, and he's used to the fact where you have to win your tournament to go to the NCAA. Now, you take the job at Boston College because you hope you can get an at-large bid and don't have to do that, but his team's in a situation now where that is their option for getting into the NCAA tournament, is to get the automatic bid.
Something he said that I really liked earlier at shoot-around today was that we quadrant the season into rounds. We're in round 3, game 5, kind of like a boxing match. Corhen, jumper, rims out.
I think you're really comfortable if you're Boston College with Corhen shooting that.
Florida State turns the Eagles over. One of the best in the country at turning teams over. Count it! And one for Cam Corhen in transition.
Zackery, it's almost impossible to get a charge anyway. And in that kind of a situation where you're down inside the restricted area on the fast break, it's impossible. This is a situation where I think Post just doesn't do a good job keeping Corhen on his back. Excellent pass, and Zackery just needs to get out of the way. That's really good play by Corhen.
Fourth team foul already on Boston College. Corhen, the sophomore from Allen, Texas, can't knock down the bonus free throw. Dan mentioned how hot Corhen had been over his last 9 games. Battled some injury this season for Florida State. Another turnover. That length and athleticism and getting into the passing lanes, but then throwing it right back to the Eagles. Madsen intercepts.
Nice job by Madsen. The Post has to do a better job of being strong with the basketball.
Eagles beat that initial wave of pressure, and Zackery leaves it short.
Zackery passed up a wide open one and took a more difficult shot.
Zackery had 11 points against the Noles 2 weeks ago in Chestnut Hill. Protects the basketball at an elite level, one of the best in the conference. Great defensively. Is now actually playing back near his home as Miller knocks it in. Zackery played his JUCO ball at Chipola right down the road from Tallahassee a couple of seasons ago.
Boy, that was miscommunication by Boston College there. Nobody picked up the guy driving to the basket. That's always a bad idea.
Florida State takes the lead, 19-18. Approaching midway through the first half. Post! Shot blocks, a foul called on the drive.
Baba Miller is the guy who can drive the ball to the basket, and Zackery hesitates. He doesn't pick him up, and by the time he tries to get in front, it's too late. And then Post, you know, he hadn't been very aggressive today, but he was aggressive that time, driving the ball to the basket.
Post knocks down the first free throw. He's from the Netherlands. He's Dutch. And tomorrow night's men's basketball matchup right here on ACC Network. PJ Hall and Clemson taking on Tech at McCamish Pavilion. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern. David Stoudemire's Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets got a big win over the weekend against Syracuse. How about the Eagles trying to mix things up with some full court pressure?
Trying to give Florida State some of their own medicine. Now, like Florida State, once the ball gets inbound, they just drop back. They don't try to pressure you all the way up the court.
Josh Nickelberry in the game. Transfer from LaSalle. Warley to the rim. How about the acrobatic layup for Jalen Warley?
Well, Warley's a big guy, and he does a nice job driving it to the basket. Not much of a three-point shooter, but if he can get to the goal, he's very dangerous.
Post is a three-point shooter. And missed 46% on the year. Had a great look. Watkins, Nickelberry. He tees up a triple, leaves it short. Front iron, Post able to corral.
Well, Nickelberry really has not shot the three well in ACC play now, 2 of 19.
Euro step, bank not there. That was Prince Aligbe.
Now he's in for McLaughlin, trying to give him a breather. He made that, again, a tougher shot than I think it needed to be.
Now Taylor Bowen, highly rated recruit, rims out. Rebound, Madsen.
Boy, nice job by Madsen to block out and go get that one.
It's a good matchup here. Post able to convert on the smaller Watkins, and he's fouled. That'll take us to another break.
Just showed you he can be.
Dan, with the way Florida State pressures the basketball, right? They're denying passing lanes and trying to get up into you. How does a player with post versatility at his size, how does that change the game and the complexion?
Well, when Florida State switches everything, that means eventually there's going to be a smaller player on the post. And he has to take advantage of that by putting himself in a position where he can catch the ball, and then his teammates have to be strong enough with the ball that they can find him.
He's a great free throw shooter, 79% on the year. Earlier this year against Harvard, Post had 20 points, 19 rebounds, 5 blocks, 2 assists, and a steal.
Now Florida State will zone press, 2-2-1. They drop back into the man-to-man. I don't think they were trying for a steal. They're just trying to make Florida State run some time off the clock.
Gainey against Post. The Yale transfer. Shuffled his feet.
That's a nice job coming over to help out. I think that was Kelly that got in the way there. You know, Gainey's had some tough luck. You know, he had that knee injury and missed the entire season last year. And I think it's bothering him a little bit. He sort of drags that knee just slightly.
And Dan, during summer workouts, he re-injured that same knee. And what had turned into a 1-year rehab turned into 2 years plus. He was able to make his debut against Georgia earlier in December. Big size, rim protector. Still trying to get comfortable playing college basketball in nearly 2 seasons. Foul on the floor as Aligbe went down.
Well, we were just talking about switching, creating mismatches, and Aligbe that time got a switch, and he had a mismatch inside against Nickelberry, and that's just a really nice job by Post to find him. Nickelberry moved underneath him.
Aligbe, the sophomore from Minneapolis, a former 4-star who played with Chet Holmgren and Jalen Suggs in high school. A couple of NBA stars. Oh, stay hot, Jaeden Zackery. Another 3.
And Zackery comes in, he's only shooting 33% from beyond the arc in ACC play. But when you give him that much time, he's going to shoot a higher percentage than that.
5 points shy now of 1,000 for his career. Gets into the passing lanes. The defense, reverse layup, couldn't finish. Oh, board, second chance coming for the Eagles. It's Donald Hands, now to Zackery. Against Watkins into the teeth of that defense. Hand picks it up, shoots it, not gonna be there. And now a foul going the other way. The Eagles hitting the glass hard though against Florida State. A lot of activity down on the boards.
Well, that was interesting. The guy that made that play happen for Florida State was Watkins. He got back and he forced Zackery into a very tough shot. And the result was Boston College doesn't get a score when they had a 2-on-1 break.
And the Seminoles in their 3-game losing streak have allowed Duke to rebound 46% of their misses. UVA 31% and Virginia Tech 44%. Watkins finger roll.
You know, you just cannot. Harris didn't block Watkins out. And you just can't, you know, anytime you're close to Watkins, whether he's your man or not, you got to get a body on him.
Here's Steele. Armani Mighty.
This is a funny lineup in the game right at the moment for Boston College.
Eagles lead by 3 on the drive. Not able to convert. Now Watkins.
A very little ball movement that time by Boston College.
Jackson drives, hangs. He's fouled. Will go to the line for 2.
But Jackson is big and strong, and he's aggressive. And he's had some really good games recently.
That's the second foul on Jaeden Zackery.
And that's big because Zackery he makes them go on both ends of the court. He controls the ball on offense and is the key guy, one of the key guys on the defensive end.
Jackson knocks down that first free throw. Here are next Sunday's ACC Network women's basketball games. 19th ranked Notre Dame and Hannah Hidalgo take on the Boston College Eagles at noon Eastern. Then number 8 Virginia Tech, Liz Kitley hosting Carolina. And at 5:30 Eastern, number 6 NC State Isaiah James squaring off against Duke.
One of the things that we've seen early, the aggressiveness of Florida State taking the ball to the basket has really created some foul problems for Boston College.
Got a 1-point advantage. Harris was looking for Mighty.
You've got to move the ball from side to side. You're not going to dribble it up and then automatically make one lob pass on the inside. That's not going to work.
Is that where you force it to the wing and then the interior touch?
You have to move the defense around.
They lost Bol Bowen in the corner for three. He makes them pay. They love this kid, Bol Bowen. A top 75 recruit, 4-star. Had his best game of the season against Boston College up in Chestnut Hill a couple of weeks ago.
That's only his third made three-pointer in ACC play, so you'd prefer not to give anybody one that's that wide open, but if you're going to do it, Bol Bowen seems like a candidate.
Harris, the leaner, no. Offensive rebounds. Mighty has it poked away. Block shot, Florida State, one of the league's best in rim protecting are these Noles. They lead by 2, under 8 to play. Corhen turning, banks it in. Count it. And the foul.
That was some play because Mighty was right there defensively.
Well, Florida State leads by 4. Cam Corhen red hot in ACC play. A little gun show from his teammates as well.
Mercedes-Benz of South Charlotte's President's Day event.
They've outscored Boston College by 12 in the lane, and this is Boston College missing the last shot after Florida State's pressure.
Earl Brunt talked about that game, saying, Dan, that we had him right where we wanted him. We outplayed him after that initial first 10 minutes of the game. BC didn't shoot the ball well in that game from beyond the arc. Couldn't hit the threes. Here today, they're 5 of 8 from beyond the arc. And they protected the basketball well to start, but 5 turnovers. In that last media timeout for the last 4 minutes, Florida State's gotten 7 points and gotten into transition.
Well, and that's why Florida State is on this 9-0 run. You cannot turn the ball over against these guys. But it was a very odd lineup that Boston College was playing. Now they basically have their starters back in. And you can't play your starters the entire game, but that was a lineup that just wasn't a good ball handling lineup, wasn't a good offensive lineup. And Florida State, that's what a good team does. They took advantage of the fact, and they really did a nice job against that BC lineup.
Foul on Chandler Jackson, team's 4th. We've got Mason Madsen back in there. Claudell Harris, too. Nearly a turnover on the inbound. Harris drops it for McLaughlin. Count it. And the foul.
And that's the way you have to play against Florida State. You can't be weak with the basketball, and when they do tip it, you got to go get it. And that's what Harris did. The ball's tipped a couple of times, and he just does a nice job drawing the defense and finding McLaughlin. That wasn't a great pass. Hard catch by McLaughlin, but he's able to score. I think that's a really important offensive possession for Boston College.
And he's got 7 points. McLaughlin first in the ACC in conference games and field goal percentage. That's a big and one there to calm the seas.
Well, McLaughlin, one of the most improved players this year in the Atlantic Coast Conference. He's a guy, and it's hard to take him out of the lineup if you're Earl Grant because he helps you in so many ways.
One of those ways is on the glass. He had 10 rebounds against the Canes on Saturday, 5 of them on the offensive glass. And now the Noles, who are in the bonus, the foul called on Harris, that's his 2nd.
Well, Harris has 2, Zackery has 2. And that was a situation where Harris just needed to move his feet because that arm shot out there by Warley. But Harris was the one who made the initial contact, so that's why he got called for the foul.
Warley will go to the line. On the year, he's 69%. And over his last 8 games, that number's ticked up to 76%. They've been tweaking his his motion, trying to figure out his release. Not a guy that has a lot of confidence shooting from beyond the arc. He's a former consensus top 30 recruit, Warley, but one of the elite perimeter defenders in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
He does a nice job getting the ball to the basket and handling the ball. Doesn't turn it over very much, lots of assists.
Splits the free throws, 1 of 2. Now the Eagles can tie or take the lead with a 3.
Well, now Donald Hand Jr. is in the game, and he's the guy who's going to have some important minutes here with Harris out.
Battled a knee injury as Madsen found himself all alone inside the paint, and he knocks it down, tied at 31.
You know, you just can't run away from a guy who's in the middle of the lane, 3 feet from the basket.
Madsen's got 8 points. Jackson strips at the ACC logo, and he'll go to the line. See if it's a shooting foul or if they'll say it's a 1-and-1.
It is a shooting foul. But again, you see Florida State very aggressive, driving the ball into the lane. The fouls are really piling up on Boston College. Zackery gets picked off in Hand. He doesn't move his feet and get over. He just slaps down with the arm.
Jackson knocks down the first free throw. Chandler Jackson hails from Memphis, Tennessee. It was his birthday yesterday. Lost 1 game in high school as he splits the free throws. 2 national championships.
Now keep in mind, Zackery's in the ball game playing with 2 personal fouls.
Ball pressure from Florida State flying around. Seminoles create the turnover.
Well, that's a bad pass. The ball you can't throw a lob pass like that. Just gives Florida State too much time to come over and tip it. And you see what happens after the turnover. They go down and get an easy basket.
Jackson's got 9. BC has 6 turnovers here in this first half. A near 7th. Post able to recover. Here's Hand.
Boston College has to settle down. Florida State's defense tries to discombobulate you.
Madsen's contested 3. Doesn't go. In transition. Tom House. Can't connect.
Where Madsen thought he got fouled on that rebound.
Madsen tries again, leaves it short this time.
Well, BC has cooled off and they've started turning the ball over a little bit, and that's a poor formula for the Eagles.
Jackson's had the hot hand in the first half. His mid-range J rims out. Pace is picked up, tempo, Zackery can't finish. He's fouled, called on Tom House, and Jaeden Zackery will go to the line for 2.
It's a bit of a dangerous play by Zackery because he's got a couple of personal fouls, but again, it's just very difficult to take a charge in this day and age. You have to have your defensive position established before the player who leaves, before the player's driving to the basket, plants his foot before he leaves the floor, and House did not get in position.
Zackery hits the first 85% from the charity stripe on the year. Here's our next gymnastics meet right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Next Sunday afternoon, NC State squares off against Pitt at Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. Coverage beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern.
And the Seminoles doing what they do. They're, running guys in a lot. They throw a lot of bodies at you. And here now, Zackery's out of the game. So Zackery and Harris out of the game at the same time for Boston College. And Royal Grant has to do that. They both have 2 personal fouls. So very important minutes here now for Hand and for Keller.
A little zone defense.
Well, again, you got guys in foul trouble. And Florida State is a team that has really been wearing you out driving to the basket.
Watkins triple, knocks it down.
Watkins, as we said, he's a good 3-point shooter. Conference play shoots over 34%.
Came to Florida State hoping that Leonard Hamilton's spread offense, trying to get up and down the court, would be a better fit than when he was at VCU. Foul down low, that should put Post at the free throw line for the 1-and-1. It will. It's the 17th foul on the Noles. Jamir Watkins has 12. Florida State leads by 4.
Mercedes-Benz of South Charlotte's President's Day event has arrived. This is
Chance at the NBA, and the Noles have been able to at least showcase that portion of it here this season, even amidst the struggles. Leonard Hamilton said he reminds him of Terrence Mann in some ways. Noles former player, now with the Clippers.
Well, Watkins he's just very active on both ends of the court. Again, Nickelberry, I think that's a little early for him to shoot a 3 in the possession.
Post, nice feed inside. McLaughlin fouled as he went up for it. How about the two bigs connecting there?
Post is a guy who can shoot the 3, and Florida State has really pressed out on him, and he's done a nice job driving the ball past, but it's hard to get all the way to the basket against the Seminoles.
And Boston College has only made 2 field goals since the 10-12 mark over the last 7 minutes or so. What have you noticed about what's made it challenging for them?
The Florida State defense has really picked up. And I think Zackery, with those 2 personal fouls, has had to be careful. And Harris picked up his 2nd personal foul. We talked about Florida State's defense before the game, and Boston College was able to neutralize it early by making shots, but they haven't been able to do that. Florida State has been as disruptive as they'd like to be.
Florida State 2nd in the ACC in forcing turnovers. Strong drive by Warley. Good defense by Boston College. They get the stop.
You can see the Seminoles giving Post no room for that 3. See, you can't do this against Florida State. You can't stand there with the ball above your head.
Florida State now will push after the stop. And the flush on the alley to Bull Bowen. He can jump out the gym.
But when you miss that badly, as Kelly did, that's almost like a turnover, and Florida State takes advantage. They get out and go.
What a drive there from the baseline for Hand.
And that's a basket that Boston College really needed. Florida State is taking advantage of the fact that BC's starting guards are on the bench. Back to the man-to-man. That 3-pointer by Watkins changed Earl Grant's mind.
Deontay Green lost it on the way up. Rebound by Post. Strong defense, 2 possessions in a row for the Eagles. And again, on the drive from the baseline, Hand has found something.
The Hand really does a nice job attacking the basket. Leonard Hamilton calls a timeout. And again, it's hard to score going against him, but as you say, Donald Hand has figured it out. Some really good drives, 1-point game.
Mercedes-Benz of South.
Redshirt freshman from Virginia Beach. Tore his ACL last season. He's returning to the court here this year, trying to figure things out. Had 16 points against Central Connecticut State. Athletic player.
Better job that time by BC cutting down on the penetration.
Nearing halftime, Bull Bowen trying to spin it around in reverse. Foul calls on Boston College.
Well, that was a defensive mistake by McLaughlin. Jamir Watkins had picked up his dribble. He picks up the dribble. You've got to put more pressure on him than that. And because there's no pressure on the ball, that allows Bull Bowen to go backdoor, and it allows Watkins to see it.
That's 2 on Post.
So 2 on Post, 2 on Zackery, 2 on Harris.
Bull Bowen missing that first free throw. Florida State 6 of 11 from the line here in the first half. They have been a poor free throw shooting team all season long. One of the worst in the ACC, dead last in the ACC in conference play. Bull Bowen knocks that one down.
Well, and Earl Grant doesn't really have any choice here. He's got Harris in the game with 2 personal fouls. You can't have Harris and Zackery and Post out of the game all at the same time.
Madsen got stuck. Long arm of the Noles. Creates another turnover.
He drew the defense, but then he wasn't able to get rid of the ball.
Jackson has 9, swings it into the corner. Bo Bowen, step back, jumper from beyond the arc, missed everything. Madsen, transition triple, count it. Eagles lead late in the half.
Again, you take a bad shot, it's almost like a turnover. You have to help your defense by playing efficiently on offense, and Florida State didn't do it that time. And for all their troubles and foul problems, Boston College has the lead.
Entertaining, high-scoring first 20 minutes.
It's been fun. Now if you're Harris, no matter what happens, don't foul anybody.
Warley, nice spin move to a right hand. The Eagles did foul, and Warley made him pay. He'll go to the line.
And this is where Florida State has had success all night long, is driving the ball to the basket. Donald Hand Jr. he allows himself to get turned around, and really a nice spin by Warley, forcing McLaughlin to come over and help.
Dan didn't even listen to you, just completely ignored you.
Well, I said Harris shouldn't foul, and Harris didn't, so it's okay to ignore me. Everybody ignores me.
I will never ignore you, my friend. Warley, free throw, knocks it down. And Warley now with 8 points in the first half. Still plenty of time to get a final shot for BC.
You don't have to be in a hurry. It's lots of time.
Corner triple, count it. Oh, baby. Claudell Harris. Now with 1, Jackson at midcourt. Well, how else was this half supposed to end? A jumper hit from beyond the arc, 43-43.
I think they ruled that a 2.
They did indeed rule it a 2. We'll get final clarification. However, Florida State, BC both shooting well over 50% in the first half. And it's been a great game here so far after 20 minutes. Tied up 43-43 here at the Donald L. Tucker Center. Now to the studio, Justin Walters and Joel Berry. What adjustments do each team have to make?
Well, I think Florida State needs to continue to attack because Post has 2 fouls, Harris has 2 fouls, Zackery has 2 fouls, and Florida State, they need to shoot the ball a little bit better from the free throw line, only 8 for 13. And Boston College needs to get Quinten Post involved. Post only attempted 2 shots in the first half.
Post had 21 and 12 against Florida State back on February 6th over in Chestnut Hill. A lot of those coming in the second half, so we'll see what adjustments Coach Grant has made to try and get his best player the basketball.
So there you have the switch. Post has a smaller guy on it, but Zackery turns it over.
Immediately, Florida State.
You can't stand there holding the ball above your head against Florida State. You've got to take it and either pass it or dribble it somewhere.
Going over the top to Miller. Double team comes, tries to muscle it up, can't. Staying with it, Madsen comes out of the scrum. It's knocked away out of bounds. It'll be Eagles ball.
That is great pressure by Florida State because if Madsen's able to get his head up, Harris was all alone down the court.
Dan, you mentioned 6 of 11 for Boston College from beyond the arc. That's 55%. Teams against Florida State are hitting 54% from beyond the arc over the last 3 contests.
And all 3 contests are ones that the Seminoles have dropped.
3-game losing skid for FSU after a hot January in which they won 6 games. Oh, how about that from Harris?
But again, Florida State's defenders sort of leave him even though he's in the lane. That's great use of the pivot foot by Harris. And Harris is a scorer. He only took 3 shots in the first half.
15 points for Harris against Miami over the weekend. Jackson can shoot the 3. And you see it there, knocking it down from the corner. Chandler Jackson has been a spark of offense for Florida State over the last 5 games.
That was some pass by Miller.
Back and forth we go. Turnover, wow, careless from Harris. Madsen just not on the same page. Maybe took his eyes off the ball.
Harris really does a nice job. He might have actually walked on that play. I thought he maintained his pivot foot. But it looked there like he changed it. Doesn't matter. 2 points count.
Warley had 8 first half points. Watkins leading the way with 12. Corhen, high-low. Jackson, too strong down low.
But Jackson really has good size and strength. And that time just too strong for Madsen.
Leonard Hamilton likens Chandler Jackson some similarities with former Seminole great Trent Forrest. As Post, 3 from the corner, back iron.
Again, a contested 3 for Post. And this is where Boston College has gotten themselves into trouble against the Seminoles in the first half of this game and in the last game. Florida State has had a couple of spurts that put BC in a hole, and then it's just hard for the Eagles to recover.
A turnover forced by the Eagles. The Noles committed just 3 first half turnovers. Really protected the ball, something they have not been doing in their losing streak. Here's Harris, wearing number 1. Kick to the wing. Is that a triple? They're going to give it 2.
Nice ball movement. And I think that's a basket that Boston College desperately needed.
Locked it down to double figures. He can really light it up at times at 30 points in a game at Georgia Tech earlier this year. A bruiser at 6'7" and 230 pounds. Zone defense, Corhen. Sweet stroke from the mid-range.
Well, you know, you can play zone, and they're playing zone because they're worried about the dribble drive, which has really hurt them. And you've got to be a little bit more aggressive than that.
Florida State without Darren Green Jr. here tonight. Still no Primo Spears for FSU as well. Madsen, you can't leave him open. Got a little lucky. Back iron. Second chance opportunity. Harris. He knocks down the 3 straight away. Bomb from Claudell Harris.
And he was well removed from the 3-point line, but nice ball movement.
Jackson to Corhen. He's fouled. Noles try for the alley-oop.
That's good ball movement. That's an open 3. You'll take that every time. And the long rebound, all the Noles are clustered under the basket. And that's just a nice job by Post to turn around and found the open shooter.
Corhen knocks down the first free throw. Really thrown into the fire last year for FSU. As a true freshman, Leonard Hamilton saying, "We had so many injuries. We didn't have much of a choice, and Corhen had to kind of be baptized by fire, so to speak." Goes 1 of 2 from the line. Tipped out. Zackery has it. Madsen to Post. Good ball movement. Harris. Madsen. In the corner, the 3 rolls off the rim. Foul called on Florida State. It'll stay on this side of the floor. Florida State by 1. Back and forth in tally we go.
Mercedes-Benz of South Charlotte's President's Day event has arrived.
Very aggressive. When he's had the opportunity inside, he has been able to produce. He's done a nice job getting position, and he's also done a nice job defensively against Quinten Post. This time he has a steal. He's the one who knocked the ball away. And look who's running the court. Well, it's Cam Corhen drawing the foul.
Got a couple assists and a steal as well, like you mentioned.
Well, he already has 9 points tonight. You can see he's cooled off, 78%, and he's only 4 or 6 tonight. But he has done a really nice job. And again, he's been the guy who started for the most part on Quinten Post. They do a lot of switching, but Post, he still has only attempted 3 field goals. Hadn't made a 3.
How do you get him more involved?
Well, I think of that a lot of that depends on him. He's got to move without the ball and find open opportunities. You know, again, the Seminoles do a lot of switching, and he has to take advantage.
Zackery gets Miller in the air, pushes it out. Harris, 3-ball, not there. Skims off the back iron. Florida State trying to push it in transition and up the tempo.
It's a good job by BC to get back on defense and miss those long threes.
Watkins had Corhen, and Corhen couldn't hang on.
And I don't think that was a bad pass either. Corhen, I think, was getting ready to dunk it before he caught it.
Hamilton talked about keeping his team positive during this 3-game losing streak. Dan, they've been in every game they've lost. There seems to be a stretch of 4 to 5 minutes a night where the opposing team finds an answer and the Noles aren't able to overcome. Foul called on Harris.
And that's 3.
That's a big deal.
And he took a wild shot, and you just can't do that against Florida State. He's 1-on-3, he's off balance. Don't take the ball in there. If you do, you have to jump stop and kick it back out. I mean, he's just off balance, and he just reaches in and knocks the ball away from Miller. That's a little bit of a frustration foul, but that is a big deal.
Southern Eagles in foul trouble. Turnover by Florida State. Zackery all alone for 3. Count it.
And that's what's bailed the Eagles out tonight. That's their 7th 3-point basket of the game. And a nice job on defense. We talked about Florida State converting turnovers into basket. BC just did. And I think they just called Zackery for a personal foul.
That's 3 on Zackery. By the way, congratulations to Jaeden Zackery. 1,000 points now in his career. The last Eagle to do it was Nick Popovich. Remember that name?
Yes. He just reached in, Zackery did. And you have to understand your importance to your team. And that's a situation, if the guy's passing, you just let him go.
So Zackery with 3, Dan. Harris with 3. 3 other Eagles have 2. Watkins looking for his first points of the half, and he has it.
That's a really good job by Florida State to find the mismatch with Watkins against Zackery, knowing that Zackery has those 3 personal fouls.
Chaz Kelly into the game for BC. And those long active hands of Florida State deflects it out of bounds and stay with Boston College.
Now that's actually a break for BC because McLaughlin took that ball into a lot of traffic.
A near deflection again, and it turns into a transition opportunity for Florida State off the turnover. Foul called. Is that on Kelly? It is, it's his first.
But Kelly really did not make much of a positive contribution in the first half. And I mean, Kelly's a guy who has played very well for Boston College at times in the past. He's been in a slump over the last few games. Now Doug Shows is having a conversation with McLaughlin and Baba Miller.
That's 10 turnovers, by the way, for Boston College. The average.
Well, and that's just a
just
bad.
North of 10 on the year.
You know, you just can't throw the ball in bounds like that.
Warley calls for the offensive foul.
And again, they're attacking Zackery, and I think that's a good idea, but Warley just lowered the shoulder. That's not the new rule charge. You know, the new rule charge involves an airborne shooter, but he just turns and plants his chest right into me. Hit him once, and the officials ruled it incidental, but then he hits him the second time. That is like the textbook definition of displacement.
There's 3 fouls now on Warley.
All right, now here's Post mismatched inside against Jackson, and they finally find him.
Count that basket. The Eagles take the lead. First points for Post here in the second half.
Well, he did a nice job getting position, and then McLaughlin passed it to him, and Florida State still surrounded him, though. But that's a good, tough play by Post. Boston College needs more of that.
He's got 7 and 4 rebounds, along with 3 assists.
Now what?
Stoppage of play, pointing into the stands. Jeffrey Anderson pointing at some fans.
They're calling security. They're going to have somebody removed. Jeffrey Anderson is a guy you don't play around with. But I did not see what happened, but he pointed into the stands. And Doug Shows went and got a security guy. Jeffrey Anderson is now telling the security guy they're going to show him who they want removed. I think that's what's happening.
You're onto something here.
And the security guy here is complicating matters. He's taking his sweet time getting over there. And they are removing somebody.
Ball back to play. Eagles by 2. Big game for ACC standings here in Tallahassee tonight. Watkins firing a 3 at the buzzer.
Well, that's his 3rd 3 of the game, and that's a big one. And Boston College now is one of those situations where both of their starting guards, much like in the first half, are out here in the second half.
An offensive foul calls.
And again, the shot clock running down, and Post just doesn't get out there fast enough. You have to know the time on the shot clock, and you have to get out on him faster, because all he can do at that point, Watkins, is shoot the 3.
12 straight games for Jamir Watkins into double figures. Averaging over 17 points per game in that span. He has 17 again here tonight. Strong drive, and Miller would not be denied at the rack. Madsen trying to cool things down, and he does.
That's a big basket for Boston College. You just get the idea that with their starting guards on the bench, the Eagles are just trying to hang on.
Very similar to the first half, my friend. Last 9 shots we've seen have gone in combined for the both teams. There's a turnover.
Miller just got tangled up with McLaughlin and fell down.
Jackson back in. Florida State has hit its last 6 field goal attempts from the floor. Boston College has hit their last 3. Full court pressure from Florida State.
Now Florida State, they pressure the ball in bounds and then they back off. And Post is a guy who can handle the ball a little bit. That helps relieve the pressure on the guards.
There's about 2 seconds to get the ball over the line. Kelly, mid-range J step back.
No, he had a mismatch posted inside against Nickelberry. That's the time you have to recognize that mismatch, and you have to find your big guy. And now Kelly compounds the error by committing a foul.
Foul on the floor from Kelly. Well, the Noles and the Eagles meeting for the 2nd time this season. There are no secrets. Miller converts, Madsen doing what he does.
50 points on their offensive end, but they actually won one of those games. So after you play the way the Cavaliers did yesterday against Virginia Tech, you just want to get back on the court. The Tar Heels have had a week off.
Noles trying to go for the alley-oop for the baseline out-of-bounds play. Couldn't convert, got lucky to keep possession. That has been the name of the game for FSU. They have gotten inside, and they have gotten calls as they get to the rim. A lot of free throws for the Noles in this one. 15 of them to be in sack.
That was a loose ball that, you know, I just don't think Boston College went after very hard. Florida State did. And then Watkins, what a game he's having. He's got 17 points. He's made 3 threes. He's got 7 rebounds. He has an assist. He has a steal. And which is very important because remember, Darren Green Jr. is not playing tonight. He's out with a shoulder injury. And so Watkins has really picked up the pace from 3.
I haven't seen Primo Spears either. He was one of Florida State's top options off the bench. So the Noles are doing this without 2 of their leading scorers.
Well, Watkins, or excuse me, Green, of course, has a shoulder injury. We don't know about Spears. Nobody said anything about an injury for him.
He's averaged 10 points per game for FSU. The Georgetown transfer who got his waiver cleared back in December. The court ruled that the 2-time transfer rule would be put on pause by the NCAA. We saw all across the country, teams were able to get their 2-time transfers eligible, at least for the time being.
Boy, there's just another weak pass, and that's a break for Boston College. I mean, these really easy lobs that you throw way up in the air, they're not going to work against Florida State. I know Quinten Post is 6'11", but so's Gainey. And Gainey, he's an outstanding defensive player. He may be a little hobbled with that knee, but you just can't make passes like that against the Seminoles.
Post inside on the drive. Are they going to count it? They are. Goaltending and 1.
Well, once again, you see Quinten Post. Gainey runs out on it to stop the 3-point attempt, and Post puts it down and goes by. Again, the ball hits the backboard above the rim, and so the officials are going to go and review this. And they're going to review it. They're going to send the teams to the bench, and they have to review this immediately. This year, the new rule about goaltending is you have to make a call, and then you can review it. That was a quick review. They said yes. And most of the time, you wait until the next TV timeout. But in this case, you have to decide whether it is goaltending, in which case Post gets 1 shot, or it's not goaltending, in which case Post gets 2. So that was a fast. I'm all in favor of fast reviews. Actually, I'm in favor of no reviews at all, but fast reviews are better.
Won't argue with you there. Post knocks down the free throw. You're seeing him take some initiative here in the second half.
Well, he's been a little bit more aggressive, and I think he's got to be even more aggressive still.
Much like the first game between these two, this one has been tight throughout. Lie with a lot more points here in round 2. Bowen left alone. His triple. Rims out, rebound, Post. That's number 5 on the evening. Looking to bring the ball up himself. Post, coast to coast, block shot by Gainey.
Gainey just did a great job holding his position.
Jackson, transition 3, not gonna have it. Watkins, offensive rebound, tried to slip it down to Gainey. And Jackson ran into the basketball and deflected it out of bounds.
Well, that is a tough pass by Watkins, throwing it into a lot of traffic. You get the ball there, it's a lot easier sometimes to kick it out rather than to try to pass it under. Boy, these teams, they just keep trading shots.
BC 55% from the floor, Florida State 58%. Harris, Post, And then a foul called there on the Eagles. It was Aligbe.
Well, and that, and that's going to put Florida State on the line. So they're in the bonus with 10 minutes left to go in the game. And that was just a silly foul by Aligbe. Florida State with only 4 personal fouls. So let's see if they can take advantage. They didn't really take great advantage in the first half when they got Boston College in some serious foul trouble. They only outscored them by 1 from the free throw line.
Bo Bowen knocking down the first of 2. And want to remind you that tomorrow night after our women's basketball doubleheader, the Nothing But Net crew will break down the day in the ACC with highlights and analysis of every game. And look ahead at the best matchups on the schedule in the coming week. That's coverage you can only find in one place right here on ACC Network.
That was a tough break for Boston College because Post had a wide open 3, and he'll make a lot of those.
62-61, a ton of lead changes, 20 of them in this basketball game, 10 ties. There's another turnover from Boston College,
well,
just their 12th.
Way too much dribbling by Post. I mean, he's right next to the basket. Look for a short jump shot.
Warley to Nickelberry. His 3 counted. And the Noles really needed that from Josh Nickelberry.
Well, he's now 3 for 21 on the ACC season, but that's a big basket.
Extends the lead to 4. Florida State 6 of 13 from beyond the arc, 46% here tonight, well above their season average. Now a turnover again. BC getting sloppy with it. Warley recovering, count it, and
1. 2 turnovers by Boston College in succession caused by over-dribbling. And so here's one of those spurts that has caused problems for Boston College in their previous game against Florida State and tonight as well. I mean, just over-dribbling. And Aligbe, he's very frustrated because he's been called for a bunch of fouls here with very little time in the second half. He's got 3 fouls now.
It's the 4th Eagle with 3 fouls. A ton of foul trouble. Here for BC on the road and away from home.
You know, you prepare for Florida State and you say, okay, you got to put the ball down and you got to drive it past them because they're going to take away what you're trying to do offensively. Well, that's true, but when you can't be playing around with the ball, and when you have a jump shot possibility, you don't need to try to get it closer to the basket, particularly if you're 7 feet tall like Quinten Post.
To your point, Dan, BC 13 turnovers tonight. They had been averaging 10.4 per game. That's the best in program history at protecting the ball. Another turnover for the Eagles.
Well, and that was just a situation where McLaughlin didn't do a good job holding his defender on his back.
Florida State on an 8-0 run. Travel called on the freshman.
Florida State is going to be very aggressive, and so if you're McLaughlin in position inside with a smaller guy on your back, you've got to use your body aggressively to keep that guy behind you, because if you don't, Jackson's coming around to steal the ball, and that's exactly what he did.
Dan, you led off the game talking about how the ACC tournament's going to be key, right, for both of these 2 teams trying to get in the tournament. The way Florida State plays, it gives them a shot, doesn't it, to make a deep run?
Oh, absolutely it does. And Florida State, if they can win this game, they keep themselves in position where they might be able to finish 4th in the league. A loss here really hurts Boston College's chances of getting out of a Tuesday game.
McLaughlin might have got away with a little bit of a shove. Zackery can't convert. Ball knocked out of bounds, last touch by the Eagles.
And now what you see is the Florida State defense starting to really push Boston College out of anything that they're trying to do. A very, very tough shot. And that's what we've seen here during this stretch. turnovers and tough shots, and that's not a good formula for Boston College.
Talking to their coaching staff today, asked him who else does what FSU does as Jackson fades away. Can't convert. Corhen now to Warley. Alley-oop flush. Florida State's on a 10-0 run.
Turnovers and offensive rebounds have really hurt Boston College during this stretch.
Harris and the Eagles desperately need a bucket. Haven't had a point in over 3.5 minutes. Harris steps back. His three, back iron, high in the air. Offensive rebound. The flush rattled out of the rim. Another chance, and that time Zackery does convert. Timeout taken by Earl Grant in BC.
You don't have to look very far to find out why the game, at the moment, when we have the score that we do, Boston College turned it over 3 times in a row.
Noles up 7. A little over 7 to play as Miller's three. Boy, that got air, and only air.
Well, I'm not sure that that's the shot Florida State was looking for with 15 seconds left on the shot clock. Leonard Hamilton doesn't look like that was the shot he was looking for.
Perpetually the same face for Leonard Hamilton. One of the legends in our game. Florida State up 7 here. We'll go to immediate timeout.
Mercedes
And Clemson. And so I think that shows you how much balance there is in the ACC. And so I think there are a lot of teams that could make it to get on a run in the tournament. Certainly Florida State is one. Boston College could be another. So Florida State, if they get really hot, there's a possibility they might even move up into the 4th spot. But this game is extremely important, particularly for Boston College, if they want to climb out of that Tuesday bracket.
Post down low, turning off the glass and in. Good offense.
Well, it was, and I think Post got lucky right there. Chandler Jackson was coming to try to steal the ball, and Post never saw him. And he was just able to pick his dribble up before Jackson arrived. But that's what BC needs to do. Post has to be more involved, and Zackery's back in the game, and Harris is back in the game with him. So they're back to their starting lineup.
See if the Eagles can make a little run. Miller, Hezzy, turnaround Jay, he was fouled.
And who got it? I think they called that on Post. No. Was it 12 or 21?
21, McLaughlin.
Okay.
And that's better for BC. It's only a second.
And McLaughlin, I mean, he wasn't even trying to block the shot. I mean, Post had picked him up. Post was in front of him. McLaughlin just hit him on the elbow. That's one of those plays where you just get out of the way.
Miller shooting 51% from the free throw line this season. This is the first.
Well, now if you're Boston College, you have to make sure you block out.
Does knock down the second. Miller now with 5 points, the Spaniard and the sophomore. On some NBA draft boards, some projections, and it's because of that size skill combo, that 6'11" that he possesses. 71-65.
And see, Post has to go toward that ball to give Zackery the opportunity to throw it to him.
Harris had a clean look from 3, but it's off to the left. Jackson triple, that's a big shot. That ties a career high for Chandler Jackson. He's got 17.
He's been really big in the absence of Green. I think this is almost a must-score situation here for Boston College. They're running out of time.
Largest deficit of the game by either team. Foul called as Post was working down low.
Again, they're going to Post. Post has been aggressive. This is just a really nice job by Watkins to draw the defense, and Madsen can't recover in time. But Jackson has now knocked down a couple from out there.
Post buries the first of 2 free throws.
And with all their foul trouble, Boston College, they need some stops.
That's not going to help the cause.
Well, yes, you still have plenty of time, but you've got to get stops on this end, and you've got to score on the other end.
And the Eagles just haven't been able to defend without fouling, as Miller will go back to the line.
Well, off the missed free throw, Boston College just a little slow getting back on defense, and Florida State continues to be aggressive. McLaughlin now picked up his 3rd personal foul.
5 different Eagles have at least 3 fouls.
Well, you're in the last 5 minutes, so that's not really a huge problem at the moment. But Earl Grant, he has had to work his way through some foul problems. He's had to put some funny lineups in the game.
Vice versa, though, Dan. Florida State only has 1 player with 3 fouls. It's Warley. Miller splits the free throws. What do you draw up here?
Well, I think you try to go to Post, at least run something through it.
Madsen, quiet second half, can't convert.
That was a good shot.
And Warley blew the lay-in. Oh, they're going to call a foul on the drive. Late whistle. And Warley to the line.
Florida State, again, out very quickly. I mean, one of the problems when you shoot the ball quickly, which Madsen did, it was a good shot, but if that shot doesn't go in the basket, that gives your opponent the opportunity to get out and go, and Florida State did.
That is Madsen's 3rd foul. Warley, much improved free throw shooter in conference play, knocks it down. And this is tomorrow night's men's basketball matchup right here on ACC Network. P.J. Hall and Clemson taking on Georgia Tech. Miles Kelly and McCamish Pavilion, a tough place to play for any ACC team this season. Coverage beginning at 7 Eastern. Just ask Duke and Carolina what it's like to play at McCamish this season.
Just ask Clemson how tough Georgia Tech can be.
There's an and-one opportunity. McLaughlin forcing it inside.
You know, Clemson already lost to Georgia Tech at home, and now they got to go to Atlanta. And this is a situation where Boston College taking a page out of the Florida State book, getting the ball up quickly and getting it to the goal. I mean, there's still plenty of time left in the game for Boston College, but again, the formula is relatively simple. Easy to say, hard to do. You got to get stops on the defensive end, and you have to convert on the offensive end. Missing free throws doesn't help.
That's a big miss. Miller, head down, the kick. Watkins pump fake. The tax throws it up. That will fall. And the foul.
Boston College, again, slow getting back in transition, and you have to get out on Watkins because he's made some threes, but you have to be under control, and Watkins just goes right by.
We'll give Jamir Watkins the double-double. 21 points, 10 rebounds. His 5th double-double of the year for Florida State.
2nd in ACC play. His other one was against Syracuse.
Florida State extends the lead to 12.
Now remember, the score was tied at the half at 43, and so Florida State has continued their offensive pace, and Boston College has been unable to because of the Florida State defense.
Miller had Corhen wide open. And again, Corhen's hands, he just hasn't been ready for a couple of these balls.
Well, but again, Ari, what happens is Boston College misses, and Florida State just beats them down the court. Now, it's not complicated what's going on.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the lack of offense at times here in the second half has affected the way BC plays defense?
Well, if you struggle on offense, that always affects your defense. You know, as a coach, you would like to say that it doesn't. Miller gets the flyby foul there. Again, trying to put pressure on Boston College.
That is Baba Miller's 4th foul.
But Boston College has had turnover problems. They've been forced to take tough shots. And when you don't convert, you just get discouraged. It's hard to play defense.
Front end of the 1-and-1 as the Eagles are in the bonus. It is converted by Quinten Post.
You know, Boston College shot almost 60% from the field in the first half, and they're right down around 40 in this half. So Florida State has turned up the defensive intensity, but the Seminoles have been able to keep their offensive rhythm going.
Still some time left, immediate timeout.
Lots of time left.
Do you feel like the Eagles need a stop and a score? Jackson, that's not a stop. Chandler Jackson has been on fire here tonight.
He just cuts right through the defense. And when you're saddled with fouls, you get a little more cautious on the defensive end.
Zackery, count it, and 1. A lot of whistles here in Tallahassee tonight. A combined 40 fouls called. Jackson, that time, able to get to the rack.
He's done a great job driving the ball to the basket. He's made a couple of threes. He's got a couple of steals, and he's really kept the pressure on defensively against Boston College. So he may have done something a little bit unexpected for Chandler Jackson, but Jamir Watkins has done the expected for Florida State. Watkins has been fabulous. Chandler Jackson with 19 points. You can see 7 out of 10 from the field. He's made a couple of threes, as I said. He's got a couple of steals, but Jamir Watkins, he's got 22. So you've got Jackson with 19, Watkins with 22 and 10 rebounds. A real team effort by Florida State so far.
Chandler Jackson, who celebrated a birthday earlier this week, has a big offensive performance, a new career high, 19 for him, as you saw there. And the Noles have just used a strong second half effort led by their swarming defense. They lead by 10.
And Boston College has missed some free throws here in the second half. So now Florida State can afford to take their time. You don't want to lose your forward momentum here, but you don't need to do anything real fast.
Miller left alone for 3, off to the right. Rebound BC, every possession now critical. Zackery, right side of the floor.
Right there you have the mismatch inside.
Alik Bey cross-court pass. Hands. Kick out. Alik Bey drives baseline, turning, swatted away. Trying to stick with it. Turnover. Number 15 on the night for Boston College.
Just dribbled the ball into trouble there. Well, Boston College in trouble now, because the clock is definitely working against them. There's 10 points down. Not a lot of possessions left in the game.
Warley inside, big block there from Post. Ball stripped away again, another turnover.
That's the wrong place to throw the ball. You're down there with Harris in the league bay. The guy you throw the ball to is Harris.
A frustrating second half for Boston College, who was on a 2-game win streak, had knocked off Louisville and Miami. Back-to-back wins. Florida State looks prime to snap a 3-game losing skid. Free throw line for Watkins, not there. Foul called. Is that on Boston College underneath?
Yes, it was. Well, here Aligbe dribbles the ball in and then turns around. If you're dribbling against Florida State and you turn your back, they're going to come after the ball. And then the second play, Aligbe, and that's not really on him, Zackery threw it to him in traffic. And when you're down on a break and Aligbe is one of the guys with you and Harris is the other guy with you, you find Harris.
Timeout taken by Florida State.
And Boston College just hasn't been able to do the same to the Seminoles. And that first half, nobody was stopping anybody. Each team was just playing really well on offense. And in the second half, the Seminoles have gotten some stops, and Boston College hasn't gotten enough.
Corhen knocks down the first free throw to extend the lead. Dan, Boston College next goes to NC State. Then they've got Virginia at home. Florida State goes to Clemson and then has NC State back to Columbus.
Well, we talked about it. These are all big games. Those are games that'll be difficult games, but each team is capable of winning all of those games. This was a big effort for Florida State in the second half.
To do it without Darren Green Jr. and Primo Spears. Nonetheless, nice feed from Harris. And the finish inside there by Aligbe.
And that was a good assist by Harris, but he's been relatively quiet tonight, only 7 points. And Florida State in absolutely no hurry now.
Well, Florida State's going to get its second win of the month of February, both coming against Boston College, ironically.
That's the first miss for Watkins from beyond the arc.
Step back three, rims out. Watkins has a new career high in rebounds with 11.
All right, Boston College backs off. Florida State's going to have to shoot the ball again unless they elect to just let the shot clock run out. Really good effort defensively by Florida State in the second half.
Force those 16 turnovers. They shoot 56% from the floor. Corhen will fire one off. That won't go hand. We'll put the finishing touches on this game. 2 free points. But in the end, Florida State too tough here at home. A strong second half, and Florida State sweeps the season series against Boston College.
Really good defensive effort in the second half. And nice offense, too. Florida State puts 84 on the board.
I want to thank Luke Broderick, Kirby Kander, our entire crew here in Tallahassee. All the cameras at the Tucker Center. Florida State 84, Boston College 76. Pitt, Wake Forest up next. Mike Monaco, Randolph Childress. Have fun, my friends.